All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're currently live at GAMA here in Las Vegas at the Bally's Hotel and Casino, and we are joined with Stephen Buonocore of Stronghold Games. How you doing?
Really nice to meet you for the first time, and to see you again. Yeah.
I know I'm your favorite.
Yes,
only because Anne's not here.
You're both my favorites.
So first off, I got to ask, how's the con treating you so far?
Yeah, no, great. I mean, this is a trade show, very different than the consumer conventions that probably most of your listeners, watchers have been to. Getting the FaceTime with consumers is great, and actually, I like those better in a lot of ways. But also getting the FaceTime with retailers and distributors, right? So these are people that I have to encourage to buy the games, so that you guys, the gamers out there, can actually get them ultimately. So it's this chain. So we have to start at the top, so to speak. We're the top, and then we have to get it to the distributors, get it down to the retail, so that the gamers can get it. So it's working out. It's working out great. It's an important place to be. Ignacy, Chevychek, and I, we do a podcast too, Board Games Insider, and we specifically did a full podcast since he was here, and from Poland. We did a full podcast just on what we do here at this show, and it's very important for business that we're here. So yeah, things are going good.
Absolutely, that's great to hear. So first off, any games you have coming out right now that you wanted to talk about a little bit?
So many games that I could take this entire hour, but we're only going to be here for about 10 minutes or so. But some of the things like the stuff coming up really, really soon. I've been pitching here the April, May, and June releases. Some of those are going to actually slip to July, almost to August too. But we got the smallest stuff like Get the Cheese, which is this cute cat versus mouse versus dog game where you're one-upping each other, you're playing a family of mice and trying to get the cheese, and then you're going to play cats against other people's mice who are doing it, and dogs against their cats and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's adorable too, because you can play it, if you have any kids out there, you can play it with kids down to like age 6. They won't get the subtleties, but they'll love the art and the stuff like that. But then you can play it with your games. It's a nice, light strategy game trying to one-up each other. So that's just a cool thing that we have. Again, another game that we're showing that like at the game night tonight. Another game that really got a lot of good feedback when we were showing it on Monday at game night was Frog Riders. Now this is like another like family weight game. Normally most of my fans are used to like some of my heavier stuff, but it's another family weight game where you're playing, again, this is kind of silly, you're playing this tribe of elves that are riding these frogs in mock combat, and you're just basically jumping over each other to capture various frog riders, which are these custom molded plastic pieces on the board. You capture them. You can keep them from points, use them to make sets and things like that, because there's some public objectives and there's some private ones to make sets, or you can turn them in as you get them to then take the action that is associated with it. Like the blue one will make you do a second jump, the red one will allow you to take a different color. So all of these things, and this is going to be like our Spiel des Jahres weight game. This is the one that we're hoping that Eggert Spiele, who's our partner out in Germany, will get the nomination for the Spiel des Jahres, because it's that kind of good, approachable game.
Nice.
Yeah. I can go on forever, but there's so many games. I'll mention, because everybody wants to hear about Terraforming Mars, of course. We're kind of showing off the first expansion. It's a two-sided game board. I just printed it out like at Staples, like on big paper, so that I can show it to people. But it's this new way to set up the game of Terraforming Mars. It's called Terraforming Mars, Hellas, and Elysium, which are 2 areas on Mars. So you're basically going to be able to go terraform the southern hemisphere, which is Hellas Planitia, and the other side of Mars, which is Elysium Planitia. And that's obviously going to be a big thing, because Terraforming Mars is just blowing out for us.
Absolutely.
Our second print one, which was twice as big as the first one, was completely sold out as the moment it got in. It just all went out.
It's
it
a
went
good
in,
problem
went out.
to have.
Yes, a good problem to have, and gamers want to strangle me right now. And I apologize. I'm going yet again. We're doubling the next print run. So literally, we stepped up from a large print run to a very large to a stupid large print run.
Oh, that's
but
awesome,
we really, I'm passionate about this, and it's good business. We have to make sure that we can do this and grow this in a rational way, and not just like print an unlimited number of copies.
Right.
Absolutely. So I got to put you on the spot. Is there
Uh-oh.
any game that you are particularly looking forward to, anticipating yourself?
From my line?
Yeah.
Yeah. The one game, and I didn't mention it, that has already garnered so much buzz from at the distribution level, and people are actually coming up to me here, is called Not Alone. This is a game, it's a one versus many game, plays 2 to 7 players. The thematic nature is that you're going to explore this planet, Artemia, in this system that their records have been shrouded in mystery. People, the NASA or whatever we call it in there has put all the records aside, and as you get to the planet, something knocks your ship out of the atmosphere. You crash land, and all of a sudden you realize something else is on this planet. You are not alone. So one player is playing the creature who is trying to assimilate you into the planet itself, and you're waiting to get the rescue ship to show up. So you visit locations on the board. You only have 5 potential at the moment that you can go to. Later on, you can go to certain locations that will enable you to visit the other ones. And the creature, the one player versus all the many, is going to try to find you at whatever location you might be as you play cards. And when he does, he's sucking your will away to assimilate you to himself and to the planet.
Really cool.
Yeah, it really is cool. It's certainly my style of game where you're trying to outthink the other players and outsmart them as the creature, or as players subtly try to get around the machinations of the creature. And you have to talk out loud if you want to try to plan things, but of course the creature, the other player, is going to hear you say things. So really something we've already had so much buzz on it. The games are still in Germany. The distributors have already talked about it and have ordered so much that I've commissioned a second printing of the game before it's even out of Germany. So it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to have the volume that I've seen with Terraforming Mars recently, of course, but it's going to be one of those really big games for us. It's going to be our big game for the middle of the year, without a doubt.
Fantastic. And just from the way you described that sounds like a game we'd love to play in our circles as well. I mean, that's the kind of thing we like to go head-to-head against each other with, right, Nicole?
So you being an awful creature.
Thank you.
I already are one, so.
Oh, goodness. So, Nicole, is there anything that you want to ask? Putting you on the spot now.
My phone on? I
What
love to tease them.
What is the price point for a game like that?
For not alone, it's actually quite reasonable. It's $29.95.
That's
it's a card-based game. You have these 10 locations, and they're all cards, and there's stacks of them. So because you can visit them, and then you can. If you visit a certain other location, you can then get it into your hand as well. So it's basically all cards with a very small center board, which is the time track, so that you can, the creature is going to move to try to get to the point where he is, because it has completely assimilated you, and you're going to try to move over time to get to beat him to that point of time. Oh. So it's that kind of race to who can do it better to get there before the other person does over time. Basically, it's a card game, 125 cards or something like that, a bunch of cubes, and the center board. And we already have 2 expansions planned for it as well, one this year and one in 2018.
It sounds like you got it lined up pretty nicely.
Yeah, this is another good one. It's really kind of my style of game as well.
It's nice to see someone so excited about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Like you really have a passion for it. That's really cool.
Thank you. I do. This hobby is my thing. I really love it.
That's what we love to see in the industry, too.
Thanks.
And then, are there any secrets I could whittle out of you right now? I gotta ask.
You do. I mean, we could talk a little bit. These aren't secrets, but I mean, if your audience hasn't heard, and they, of course, they probably know Terraforming, we have 4 expansions already planned for Terraforming Mars, and all in the works. We actually worked with the design and development house of the game, Fricks Games, out in Sweden. We delayed the game with them a year because we didn't think the game was ready. We thought there were some issues in the game. They wanted to release it at Essen 2015. And we're like, guys, it's just not quite there. Let's spend the extra time and release it like at Gen Con or Essen the next year. And we did. In the meantime, they were not only able to modify the game to make it just that tight, but they also worked on the expansions. So we have coming up, we have the double-sided game board is expansion 1. We have, and that's going to come out in June with the 3rd printing. We have the 2nd expansion will come out around Essen, which is called Terraforming Mars, Terraforming Venus, or just Venus. We're not sure of the name yet. You'll have a sideboard where Venus is there, and it'll be a more abstracted version of terraforming that. A few tiles that you can place there, plus new cards that are about Venus. And then we have at least one expansion in 2018, maybe two, and then if we don't get the two there, one will be in 2019. So, and we're thinking about other ways of developing this IP, because obviously even the theme just hits home, it strikes home with people. So we're really excited about this.
It's a hot product right now for sure.
Awesome.
Hot product, and a really a theme that I really think that not only, I mean, the game is great, of course, but the theme people have really latched onto. Mars is such a hot topic now in like pop culture. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm older than you guys, and I believe that I'm a lot older than you guys, and I believe that before I check out, I think we're going to see people set foot on Mars. So that's really cool. There's so many projects right now, real world projects, where they're actually planning a Mars one out in Europe. NASA's got stuff on board, and what's his name, Elon Musk and SpaceX. He's got plans on how he wants to do it too. So it's big. It's going to continue to be big. I think people have latched onto the theme. Is like, wow, that's really something we're going to see happen at some point in our lifetimes. So we're going to. Stronghold Games was first on Mars.
Yeah, going from the science fiction to science actuality is definitely a pretty cool thing.
There's a lot of really hard science baked into that game. If you look at the designer of the game, Jacob Frixelis. By the way, he's one of 9 brothers and 4 sisters who all work for this same company, which is kind of cool, out in Sweden. And he is a scientist by his trade, is what he's done for his life. And he put a lot of really major research into that game to make that game and make the theme really shine in the way that it doesn't necessarily in any given Euro, but in here you really feel that you're doing things that make sense.
Right, it's not a game that's lightly skinned with a Mars theme to it. It's actually got some substance.
It's got some real substance to it, and how you're actually going about terraforming a planet. And it takes place 400 years in the future, so we couldn't do that now.
Right.
But in 400 years, with our technology, we're doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we know you're on a time crunch, so thank you so much for.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining us and watching this broadcast. This is another Twist Gaming presentation signing off. From GAMA here in Las Vegas, I'm Matt.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Steven.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.